Hello. Welcome. Welcome to the Come Right In. Welcome to the quest for epic engagement. My name is RJ Redden. I am your normal host. But although the word normal hardly ever applies
I
to
was going to say, you're the what now?
I know.
You mean a regularly scheduled host is what you meant.
There, that is exactly what I meant. Today I have bad lighting, which makes me look like I have 17 chins. But you know what? I'm gonna treat you to that, and I'm also gonna treat you to this. Miss McCartha over here. Peggy is with us today. We want to talk about something incredible that like by hook or by crook, by the ends of the midnight candles burning together, there was so there was this thing that we did a couple weeks ago, and it was called an expo. Now, it wasn't just any expo, was it, Peggy? What was tell us a story.
Well, at some point, I believe in some collaboration. It was like, you know what we should do? And that quickly turned into, well, let's do it. And then we're like, how long should it take? We can schedule it for 6 weeks out.
It's
This
fine.
should be fine. Should
Nothing.
be fine. So we gathered, not only I was able to talk to some really cool vendors, not only vendors, but a total of 44 GoBrunchers, people on the GoBrunch platform came together to show off what they do with their GoBrunch room, what services they have, how they're using their room, what they do. And we had from attorneys to, the range was just we had photographers there, not just me, other photographers there. We had podcasters there. We had coaches there. We had, you name it. And it turned out just wonderful. It was a very, very amazing event, if I do say so myself.
And you do, because we are recording. Fantastic. Well, so, and for those of you who don't know what GoBrunch is, it is a, it's hard to describe unless you've been in it, but it's kind of like it's kind of like the multiverse, but in 2D. Everybody gets like meetings rooms, and everybody gets in a circle camera like this, and meetings and workshops and things like that abound, but it's really, really hard to describe because it's such an experience. And so, hey, if you don't know what GoBrunch is, if you want to know what I'm talking about and you don't, get a hold of either one of us and we will tell you and, show you what we've discovered, which is way more than community, way more than meetings, way more than all those things. It's like an interdimensional space for brand expression that you can invite people into and have them experience your world. An incredible marketing tool, an incredible community tool. That is what that is. And you and I decided that we should have an expo because it's so hard to describe, and people have to walk through and experience the different things that this platform can do. The response that we got was incredible. Ton of people came, and people got to show off all of the beautiful stuff that they're working on, which was just amazing.
Can I share a couple of my favorite comments that I heard?
Please.
One was, this is everything that I didn't think GoBrunch was. The other one was Deborah, who said, oh my gosh, I got 3 leads and my calendar has been dry as a desert for the last 2 years, and was able to get actually people to see not just how she decorated her room, but actually interested in what she was doing in there and wanted to, potentially work with her. And so it's just so many people made so many connections and so much networking. It was an amazing event.
It really was. I think some of my favorite parts of the event were, people reminded me just how far we've come, actually in the last 4, 5 how long's it been, Peggy? I don't even know. December. We started in December, but people just entering the space and going, "I didn't," it wasn't even, "I didn't know GoBrunch could do this." It was like, "I didn't know the internet could do this." And, again, for those of you who don't know, go experience it. But it I've been looking for software that brings us together. There's a lot of software out there, you and I both know, that divides us, that drives wedges in between people, and I mean, and like people don't speak again for years, and there's a considerable amount of bullying on tons and tons of platforms. But this one, it's full of good people who want to lift each other up. And there's no real requirement. It's just like everybody is so happy to have found the platform and happy to find each other,
Hmm.
that is pretty incredible experience. Um, so Peggy, we've gotten a couple of your favorite quotes. Any favorite moments in there that you just, like, really made you go, "Yep, this made it worth all the effort"?
I mean, tons of those moments, mainly watching people connect and watching people thrive and encourage each other. And I love to bring people together. I love to introduce people to each other. And a lot of these people that were there, I didn't know. I this was my first time meeting them as well, but to watch them build relationships over a course of 2 days and come back and be like, "Oh, I met this one person that did this one thing, and have you seen this person, Peggy?" And it was really, it was exactly what I've always thought this platform could do, and it's what I've strived to give to my community, is a place where they can connect. And so to see that on a bigger level, I have a little map in my community that connects all of my members to each other. But this was obviously a much bigger. It wasn't a map; it was an expo. But it was really great to see all the connections, and not one. Should I knock on wood somewhere? Not one tech issue. Which, I mean, I've put on way smaller events in the past and had way more issues than we did with this. So it was really a great fun time. What was your best moments?
It was watching, well, uh, I just personally, like, meeting Claudio. He's a guy who, just is super. I don't understand how his neck carries that brain, because wow. He, in terms of creating spaces, just in a matter of a couple of weeks, he had done things way beyond, what I had done, and I got to go sit with him and chat with him about his process and what he did. And it was like, this is such an adventure. I mean, this is so beautiful, and it expanded my mind, as to what it could do. Usually you and I are part of the group that pushes the envelope, and we finally got to meet other folks who are just doing crazy fabulous things out there.
Now, a bit of a disclaimer. He is an actual programmer. You and I are actually not programmers. So some of the things he was doing, he was kind of Yeah, he was above our pay grade. He was above our pay grade. So yes, yeah, and yes, normally you and I try our best to break things and push things as possibly far as they can be pushed. But yes, yes.
Yeah, he does programming. I've learned so much because I've spent a lot of time with him, in the past. It's been 3 weeks now since we had that, and, you know, it's just been incredible to see the process of how somebody else thinks about this, and he brings that whole other experience to the table. I must just be entertainment for him. I don't know. But he keeps letting me tag along, and to really push GoBrunch into, Richard is, kind of saying it's a lifestyle. It's not a meeting platform. It's really not a meeting platform. And that's so hard to explain to folks because they're expecting Zoom. Uh, and it's not. It's not Zoom. So I've had the occasion to invite people over and have them go, "Well, what's this? Why do you have to
Mhm.
do that? What's going on here?" And like, yeah, I mean, so biggest thing I think was just meeting Claudio, and then I think also learning how other people are using their rooms, like, and I think you and I and a potential client were talking about it just earlier today. She's wanting us to build some worlds with her, and what she was saying was to name every room what you're doing inside it. Uh, I have not done that with the Come Right In.
No. Your
No.
your naming process is way different. Your naming is all mystical and fun and exciting. And I'm the one that has like boring names, Okay, we're hanging out in the get shit done room. Here's the strategy room. Here's the co-working room. Here's the calendar event, upcoming event room. But I think that's the coolest thing about it is that we can name our rooms.
Yeah.
And if you want it to really say what it does, that's cool. And if you want it to be whimsical and magical, and it can be that too.
Yeah.
That's the really cool thing is we can do whatever we want with our rooms and our spaces.
It's so interesting to see the self-expression, I think, that goes on in this. I was talking to some folks on an interview just yesterday, and they were talking there was a lady that had written a book in the room. It was a children's book on, when we were kids, a couple of days ago. The kindergarten teacher goes around and asks the class, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And there are standard answers to that question. Today's adult job landscape is vastly different than it used to be.
Absolutely.
Oh my god. And so this book is about all of the different things that you can do. And like this lady goes and she reads to kids. He reads this book, and it was such a fantastic it was fascinating story. And but what she said was that she's asking, kids in classes what they want to be, and they're all like YouTube influencer. And I was thinking about that during the interview, and it was like, I wonder why that is. And I think it's because, I mean, this is completely RJ theory. This could totally be sunshine in weird areas. I don't know. But what I think is when I was a kid at the adults around me and television and everything else, there were not a lot of things that I could be except for like, I don't know, a housewife or a teacher or a nurse. I just, you know what I mean? That was kind of it, and which makes me laugh today. But n- in the people that you saw, I mean, the big thing was go get in with a good company and they'll take care of you, and
Mhm.
you can work there for 30 years, which of course, Doesn't does not
Doesn't.
happen anymore. Oh, Enron was the first time people went, "Where's my savings?" And since then, things just have not been the same. But I'm looking at people who are dressing in suits, and I'm looking at people who don't look like me that are in charge. And I'm looking for this environment that I'm going to need to fit into. Where today's kids are looking at people who are being themselves, talking to the camera, and making a good living. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? Like, isn't that interesting, the self-expression that we're allowed to have today far outweighs anything that we've ever been able to have in the past, especially, in the 70s. Anyway, that was fascinating to me, and how that relates to all this is that GoBrunch is a blank canvas. I don't know of any other software that invites you to really make a blank canvas out of it, to really every inch of this screen has been thought about. The one that
Mhm.
you're seeing right now, we've got 2 ninjas, we've got one above my head, the gray one that I like very much, and then we've got Scribbling Sensei above Peggy's head there. Smoke is happening, plans are happening in this little alcove, you know? It's a nook and a cranny inside the come right in. These are places where I can express my brand in a totally different way than most brands express themselves. And because of that, people know me much deeper than they usually would, some service provider who's screaming to be heard, desperately trying to make an impression. Um, okay, I don't even know what question it was. But I started answering something, and then now I've run out of things to say. What do you think, Peggy?
You were saying you were saying how your opinion was. That's why this is so marvelous, is because and the thing that I like about it is that it gives everyone autonomy over your own space. Even as the viewer, like, you can set it up however you want as the host, as the, as it's your space, you can set it up however you want. But then I come into your meeting and I can still move stuff around. I can change the view, I can move everything around, and I can have the experience that I want. I'm ambidextrous. And why that is important is because, like, there are people that live like only on the right side of the world. And there are people that live only on the left side of the world. And for me, like, I just want things where it's convenient for me. And this lets me do that. And it's a small thing, but it's important to me because that way, like, instead of like having something set up all, and one way or the other, I can move things around and I can be comfortable and I can be effective in my experience. And not only that, like, just the fact that so many times we're told how we have to do things. Okay, you're going to a Zoom meeting or a, whatever platform you're using, and you have to set in this box, and you have no control over any of it. You're in this box, and your big control is turning your camera on or off, turning your mic on and off. That is the only control you have. You have no control when the screen is shared, where it's going. You don't have anything to look at or to click on. Now, as a parent of neurodivergent children, just the fact that there are so many things to keep you busy, you can, RJ and I both have stuff going on in our room. So if you're that person that needs to be kept busy, you can go click around and find all sorts of hidden Easter eggs and all sorts of things. And that way you can engage and listen deeper to the conversation because you're able to keep engaged and keep your hands clicking on things and doing things. And that's just something you don't get in any other platform. It sounds like RJ always says, it's something that has to be experienced. It sounds weird to talk about it, but when you're there, earlier today, I had a meeting with somebody, and I do all of my one-on-one meetings in my space. And she was like, "What is this?" where am I? What is this? I thought we were having a video call, and I was like, well, we're on video, so I didn't lie. You know, whenever I schedule a meeting, I say a video call. I don't say, because this is kind of what it is. And we were meeting in my office, and she just kept like looking at like stuff, and she was like, what is this? Where am I? And then I had to like kind of rope her in and say, remember, we're here to talk about this one thing. But that's what people often experience when they first, and then it's like, wait, I could come back. And I was like, oh yeah, my space is open 24/7. I don't have to be here. There's tons of things for you to watch, to explore, to do in my space. And I don't have to be here. I said, there may be other people here. So if you pop in and someone else is here, say hi, be polite. But you can come look around anytime. And just that concept was just, you could tell it was breaking her brain as I was telling her that like, oh yeah, you can go walk around, go do anything you want. And at the expo, that's what we did. We walked around. People went anywhere they wanted, came and gone, and went and blah blah blah. And that was what it was. Now we are getting ready to put on another expo. And even though the first expo was literally perfect, it really was. There's always room. Even perfection has room for things to be better. And once we did this, we realized a few things that would make it better. And that is, when people are doing their demonstrations, just like if you went to Comic-Con, you'd have a list of paper with all the presentations and the demonstrations. What if we could have something that told us where that happened? So we have figured out how to do that. There will be an agenda there. You can come and go, walk through the booths. But if you really want to know what somebody's doing and make sure they're in their booth or their room, then there'll be an agenda, and you can pop in and go to the correct places at the correct time. So I don't know. There's going to be a lot of exciting things in this next expo. It's going to be bigger and better than ever.
Yeah, baby.
And by ever, I mean than the first one.
In round one.
Than round one.
I'm particularly excited about that agenda feature,
Yeah.
Peggy, because that will, people are pretty used to dealing with those. And as outstanding as it is to have this platform, sometimes people need anchors back.
Mhm.
They kind of need like something familiar to help them kind of make sense of what they're looking at. And
Mhm.
so, yeah, I'm really excited to have that agenda and to have people be showing up intentionally, because last time it was just kind of like, folks
It was
wandered around
overwhelming is what it was. It was overwhelming.
a little teeny bit right there. I think it was overwhelming for folks, and to be able to provide something that's a little bit less overwhelming. My dream is always Disneyland. My dream is always giving people that Disneyland experience where you can kind of kick back, relax, and do a lot of stuff without having a lot of worries. They give you just in time information. They don't want you to have a cognitive load. They don't, that, oh, I gotta remember this for later. They try to make things as easy and as intuitive as possible. Now, I'm a person, you're a person, we make things for people. Sometimes what we think is intuitive is not intuitive to everybody. It's a hard job, but the effort is something that should be respected. The effort to make this as easy peasy and as enjoyable a journey as I can make it for you. And there's a lot of that goes along behind the scenes. Let me just say, behind the scenes, It's Peggy and I hammering away on our, trying to keep up with everything that's going on and going last minute going, hey, we should do this. And then one of us going, we got 6 hours till we do the thing. So maybe not add any more right now, RJ. Cause I'm
That
really
might have
big.
been me saying that. That might have been me. That might have
I
been
don't
me.
remember. We both say it a lot. Hey, what if, yeah, it always starts out like that. Um, but I think that one of the biggest things that impressed me too is just the people of GoBrunch, you know? Like we've got a particular crowd over there of people who are some of them are super creative. Some of them are really not, but like they're so interested in what everybody is doing. And people who really genuinely seem like they want to band together and do some great stuff. Did you feel that way, Peggy?
Absolutely. And what I thought was really funny is like there's some super creative people on there that had creative, like amazing rooms. Some of them like blew me away. And then there's people that just use the templates that came with the program, really didn't do anything fancy or techie, just a room, but the environment that they were able to create in that, shall we say, basic template room, it's still like, and some people I think are like, well, I'm not creative enough. It's like, I always say this with headshots. It's not about being it's not about the pretty picture. It's about how you make people feel. It's about how your environment, the environment that you create, that you decide to create. So whether you have all the bells and whistles, and RJ and I have a lot of bells and whistles in our spaces because we're those people, but you don't have to be that people. You don't have to have any of the bells and whistles to have an amazing experience on this platform. And I think that was shown, really highlighted in the expo, because there was people that had just the templates and you go in and it was like an amazing experience. And so I think too often people are like, oh, there's nothing fancy here, I'm going to leave. And they miss out on the gold. They miss out on the gold because some of those, what you would call basic rooms, had some treasures in there,
Uh,
some treasures. So I think that never underestimate what you're going to walk into, because these are amazing spaces. Even if they're, just no bells and whistles, they're still thought out and they're still made with love and with intention. And I think that's the most amazing thing to see, is just how it doesn't matter, but how the people bring their own life to their spaces.
it's really true. We build worlds for people. We've got a membership that people can join if they want to build alongside us. We've got a lot going on, but the most important thing is always, how are you making them feel when they come in? How do you want them to feel when they come in? And how can you make that happen through all of these different tools that we have? And sometimes the true rare gem in the room is the person sitting in the chair who you're talking to. You know what I mean? It's not fancy at all, but that person, what they're bringing to the table, and has decided to show up and give people a great
Mhm.
experience.
Yeah.
So as cool as the bell and whistles are, yeah, they're cool. The biggest thing remains, what's this journey going to be like for your people, and how can you make it better? It's
Mhm.
not marketing at all anymore, which makes me happy because I've spent way too much time marketing. It's not marketing at all really anymore. It's letting people see who I am, and if they like that, well, hell, you can stay.
Yep. Yep. And if you don't, then that's all right. I probably didn't want to hang out with you either.
Exactly. Oh, well, I do have to say that specifically because uh, of some of the stuff that happened at the expo. It was right after that that I put my lobby. Uh, so y'all, a lobby in GoBrunch is like, it's not a landing page, it's a landing room. And you land in there and you get kind of some directions as to what the space is about and who, is the owner of the space. And sometimes people have stuff up where you can make an appointment with them or connect with them in some way, or all of these different things. For me, I chose to have a video. I have a highly specialized audience of people who love to walk on the wild side of marketing, and are super heart driven people. And so I basically just did a welcome, and I have an image of the outside of the come right in is my landing room, and I have a video of me up there welcoming people in and letting them know this is what this place is about. And if you don't like that, this might not be the best space for you. That is not marketing, right? That is so marketing is trying to get people by hook or by crook into that space so you can get an email address so that you can pound their inbox 72 times until they get tired of you and seeing your name, and just, unsubscribe you from existence. That's the 97% of marketing that's out there. This is so completely different. And I just want it to be my legacy that I've helped bring this to the world, and with you to bring this to people, these concepts to people's worlds. Um, it's like we're real estate people all of a sudden. So yeah, this has been an amazing process, and I really wanted to come on with you and just really talk about what that experience was like. I had a networking thing for like 10 months, and I would invite people every month, and I would it was on Zoom. Just before GoBrunch, obviously. The very last networking meeting that we had was actually in GoBrunch. Peggy helped me design that room. And I had that networking thing forever, and it was so, people would tell me they got some good stuff out of it, and people would, invite other people, and it was kind of a good thing. But I never got to meet anybody because I kind of had to stand out in the lobby, like grabbing people when they were late and getting them into groups and all that kind of stuff. And this isn't networking. This isn't a business card exchange. This is truly getting to know people in a way that is building a relationship, not just getting another email for my list. Can you talk, Peggy, about some of the relationships that I know that you have been building over on GoBrunch?
I mean, I've the example I always say is the first time I did a workshop in GoBrunch. The workshop was over and people stayed, which is fine. Like in my schedule, I always give myself a 30-minute buffer in case there's some Q&A or something. And, and they stayed, and I would say a lot stayed, like very few left when it was over. And then I was like, okay, well, I have a client coming to the studio, so I have to leave, but you guys stay if you want. And then I left, and I came back about an hour later, and 5 people were still there. And I was like, what? And so I popped in and talked to him for a little bit. And then I was like, I've got a meeting. I got to go. I came back an hour later, and 3 people were there. Those 3 people were there in my space for 5 hours. I wasn't there in my space for 5. I kept popping out and leaving and coming back. But 3 people stayed for 5 hours. That's unheard of. That would never happen in other platform. And so then, as time, continued, they just kept coming back, and I would have events and different things to encourage people to come and hang out. And it's a place where you actually get to know people. Do we get work done? Oh, RJ likes to say this isn't a productivity platform, but it is. It is. I think I get more work done on GoBrunch than on any other platform because you can work naturally. Like I'm everybody knows I'm known for the multitasking. I'll be holding a whole full on conversation and also doing something completely different. That, obviously can't edit videos or do anything that's, audio, but any of the other work that I have to do, I'll be doing it and talking away, and somebody will start to show something. I'm like, wait, I got to find the tab. I'm not looking actually. um, but those are the kind of things. And now there's a group of us that text each other that are like, hey, I'm going to go in. Is anybody on the platform? I'm headed in. I'm going to work. And within the next half hour, 45 minutes, 5 or 6 people just show up. There was nothing scheduled. It was just like, hey, we want to come and hang out and work. And sometimes we just want to come out, hang out and talk. And but a lot of productivity happens. A lot of accountability partners have been bonded. They come in and they check each other. Like, have you done this? You said you were going to do this week. Do you need help? Why haven't you done it? What can I do to make you do this? What can I do to help you do this is probably a better way to say it. But really, really almost bullying in a really good, productive way. Because you don't want to let your friends down. You're like, oh my God, they're going to ask me about that thing. I better go do it. And it's just an amazing space, a really amazing space. A lot of things happening.
Yeah. And, happening still. We've got June 11th and 12th coming. That's our next expo. We've now got the weekly waffle going, sponsored by Peggy and I, the WorldBuilders. We are holding that weekly, and Richard comes and he talks about what's going on with GoBrunch and what's coming up next,
Exclusive stuff happens in there. We weren't even privy to some stuff that Richard dropped last time. I was like,
oh, I was like, dude, when were you going to tell me?
When were you going to tell me? Exactly.
Yeah, and it was good. I was like, dude, I don't know how you've been keeping this from me, but
you knew we wanted this thing. We didn't know you were doing the thing. So yeah. So it's worth the time, and it's just worth, because you get to see everybody. You get to see what's going on and what they're doing, and say hi. It's nice to say hi to people. And the more you say hi to people, the more you start remembering, oh yeah, they're the one that has that dog. How's your dog doing? I heard it had surgery. Is the dog doing good? Yeah. And that's how it's natural.
Yeah.
It's like being out in the wild. It's out like in person. It's just like, so conversation just happens naturally.
It's true. It's a place where you don't have to set a meeting to have a great conversation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yes. Well, we've been talking long enough. We should probably wrap up, but could you talk to me about time benders? Could you talk to me about your community and how people can find you and what cool things you have happening in your community?
RJ, I can talk about time benders. That's all I do is talk about time benders. Time Benders is the coolest place for professional photographers and creative business people to hang out. We have get shit done sessions every other week. We have workshops every month. We have co-working officially once a week, unofficially quite often. We have tons of things that just happen in these places. And you can come and, we have our open houses every month, which is our gala, our celebration, our wins, because I think that you should celebrate the wins. And if your win is you finally got that calendar set up, or your win is you finally got your YouTube channel started, or your win is you finally got that marketing material out you needed to do, that is worth celebrating, because when you're your own company, there's a lot of hats you wear, and you should celebrate them because that is a big deal. So we do, that. You can find us at timebendersspace.com. And space is spelled out. It is not a physical
It's not a
space.
physical space. You
Didn't see
can't
that
do
one.
that
Didn't
in
see
New
that
York.
one being a problem when I bought that domain, just so you know. Did not think that anybody would type something, push the space bar, and then type .com, but apparently some of us have tried that. So it is timebenderspace.com, and you can go and once you get there, you can watch a video, you can send me a little message and ping me like a doorbell and let me know if I'm not busy or if I'm doing something like dishes that I don't like doing. I will be right there in a heartbeat if I'm not with a client. Otherwise, you can schedule a meeting with me, and I would love to give you a tour and hang out with you.
Well, and time benders, just from personal experience, I've met so many good people there in your, in your rooms. I've met so many good people, and just so very much enjoy the relationships that I have today. The same or perhaps better than when we had physical events, and I wandered around to plenty of those and found community, but I had to spend a couple grand every time. Now I can just, go stalk Peggy, see where she is, and hang out with her.
If Peggy isn't in the time bender space, Peggy is in the come right in. So
Yeah.
tell us about the come right in.
Well, the come right in is my own. It's the space that I have my community. It's the space I have my workshops. It's the space where I meet with people that I love and love to do business with. And you may or may not have noticed, but it is a really large tavern with many, many, many rooms, and there's many things to do inside those rooms. In fact, a little Easter eggs hidden everywhere, ways you can make an appointment with me if I'm not sitting there, and opportunities to connect with other people who wish to walk on the wild side of marketing. And trust me, it's a wild side. So come visit me. Come visit the community. Come visit my ninjas. It's thecomerightin.com. Right is spelled WRIGHT. And yeah, come visit sometime because we are there. Lots of events going on in there all the time, and lots of really cool people to talk to. So yeah, well, cool. Thank you for spending the time to come and, kind of debrief on that expo with me, Peggy, because I think it was an important thing in the history of our Go Brunch, our beloved Richard. And there's so much more to come. If you feel like maybe it's time to get on an exciting train that is really going somewhere, and maybe take a walk with us for a while, please do. Just make that jump because it will invigorate your days. It has mine. It has Peggy's. So what do you got to lose? All right. Well, but next week, more guests. I'm changing the podcast up a little bit. I'm going to be much more focused on, what we're doing, world building and brand building in general. For those of you who don't know, I wrote a book a couple of weeks ago, the exact same time that the expo was happening. I will not do that again. I will not do that again. But wrote a book on brand building and world building that is, a pretty cool thing to check out too. We're going to be spending a lot of time in that. We're going to really dig into that in this particular podcast because it's about the quest for epic engagement. How are we finding that these days? What are we building that our clients love? What are we building that our clients go, meh? what kind of we doing things are we doing before we have these events? What's the follow-up like? What's the reception to that like? We're gonna be covering all of those in little bits and pieces, throughout the next weeks. Stay tuned, watch this tavern, and, that's it for now, my friends. Well, we'll see you later.